Conduct roll call.
Yes, sir. Mr. Jones.
Here.
Mr. Adams. Mr. Grow. Mr. Melvin is absent. Chairman Wendell.
Here.
Mr. Arabi. Mr. Otan. Mrs. Chasson. Mr. Lorraine. President Chasson.
Thank you, ma'am. If everyone will please rise, our invocation will be led by Mr. Grove, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. Arabi. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everyone to tonight's meeting. As we proceed through the meeting tonight, if you wish to address the council, you can fill out a blue public wishing to address the council form near the entrance door and get it to Ms. Carlene before that section. As we move through the agenda and we get to the ordinances for discussion, we will call for public comment on each one of them. And as we move into resolutions, only the council will be able to comment before we actually take a vote. So if you need to address the council on anything other than one of the ordinances that are up tonight, please fill out a form and get it to Ms. Carlene. We'll move into item A, approval of minutes. Item number 1, a motion to accept the minutes of August 15th, 2022 special session. Motion by Mr. Jones, second by Mrs. Chasson. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes with 8 yeas, 0 nays, and 1 absence being Mr. Melvin. Item number 2, motion to accept the minutes of August 23rd, 2022 regular session. Motion by Mrs. Chasson, second by Mr. Grow. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes with 8 yeas, 0 nays, and 1 absence being Mr. Melvin. Item B, state and/or federal legislative updates. I do not see any. We'll move into item C, Lafourche Outstanding Citizen. We have none. Item D, presentations and/or updates. Number 3, Parish President to recognize LPG Employee of the Month or WOW employees for the month of August. Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We actually have 2. We're going to do a co-duo Employee of the Month, and we also have a WOW for this month. The person who did nominations for both of the employees are both bridge tenders on the Côte Blanche Bridge. We had 2 of the 4 bridge tenders on Côte Blanche recently retire with no one to replace them, and we finally were able to replace 1 through our hiring process. With this said, Ms. Mona and Ms. Gale have both been pretty much working around the clock with no days off and never got 1 complaint for either of them while working 7 days a week for 12 hours a day. These two huge ladies need a huge round of applause for stepping up to the plate when no one else would. They continue to this day working around the clock. And I will say that they would have been here tonight, but one of them actually took some vacation and is on vacation, and the other one is under the weather. But we'd like to congratulate Ms. Mona and Ms. Gale as our employees of the month. Mr. Chairman, our WOW employee for the month, and I don't think he's here either, is Mr. David Nelson from Lockport Field Office. Mr. David Nelson, who, as most of you know, drives the lowboy for us, had just come across the Big Wheels truck stop in Bayou and noticed a state trooper on the side of the road with a flat tire. So Mr. Nelson pulled over and assisted aid and helped him plug the tire and getting him back into service. So Master Trooper Brent Dufresne would like to nominate Mr. David Nelson as a WOW Employee of the Month. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Item number 4, Ms. Lacey Melanson from the Coastal Technical Assistance Center at SLEC to give her presentation.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and council members, for having me here. My name is Lacey Melanson, and I am with the Coastal Technical Assistance Center. And
I'm sorry, Ms. Melanson, can you state your name and address for the record?
Oh, sorry. Lacey Melanson, 4247 Bayou Side Drive, Houma, Louisiana.
Thank you.
70363. So what the Ctac program is, basically in 2019, the governor signed this program into effect, and COVID happened not long after, so it was slightly delayed in getting off the ground. But basically what we are here to do is assist small Louisiana-based businesses in obtaining information and work in the coastal sector. So specific to CPRA projects, but not only CPRA projects, We also provide information on projects offered through the Army Corps of Engineers, as well as Ducks Unlimited, local levy districts, parish governments. We are a statewide program. However, we are based in Thibodaux, Louisiana, on the Nicholls State University campus. All of our services, however, are offered online. So our free services are offered to any business wanting to sign up, interested in getting information and assistance with regards to any coastal work being done here in the state. Some of our main goals is obviously to keep that coastal investment local. With regards to CPRA, they are anticipated to spend just this year $1.36 billion through their master plan. So we want to try to encourage local businesses to try to obtain some of that work. We have, our website is a great resource. I've provided a business card and a brochure to each of you before the presentation. Our website is a great resource. People can sign up through our website. And we have a newsletter. We have all sorts of things offered through our website, all projects listed. So right now, if anyone wanted to bid on a coastal project, they'd have to go to several different websites to look at those projects that are happening throughout the state. However, on our website, we offer all of that information in one place. We also provide information about coastal events happening throughout the state as well. And something else exciting that we're getting ready to do is launch a Ctac app. So all of that information will be available at our fingertips through our phones. Our partners are, of course, LED and CPRA. They are the funders of our program. However, we have other partners as well. South Louisiana Economic Council is one of our partners, as well as Nicholls State University, the Water Institute of the Gulf, Louisiana Ctac, which is the Procurement Technical Assistance Center for the state, and the Army Corps of Engineers. And then we have lots of local partners throughout parishes as well. So just wanted to give you a brief presentation. We are co-hosting a webinar tomorrow with a more in-depth and in-detail presentation with regards to the services that we actually offer and a breakdown of those services. That'll be at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. So if anyone is interested in learning more about Ctac or our services, you're more than welcome to sign up for that event, and that is posted on our website as well. So with that, I'll take any questions if anyone has any.
Anyone with anything for Mrs. Melissa? All righty, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Item E, legal advisory report. We don't have any. Item F, engineers and architects reports.
Good afternoon, John Plazons with GIS Engineering, 197 Elysian Drive in Houma. I've got several project updates for you. Shoot, I forgot to have this. The Cyprian pump station is up and running. Final walkthrough was performed back on July 18th. There are some solenoid valves that need to be replaced. They have been ordered. We expect them in by the end of the month. But once that is done, everything will be complete. The temporary pumps have been removed. Everything is running. So we're just waiting on those valves. And they do have some valves there. They just need to be replaced. The Butch Hill pump station, we're in the final design with that. Of course, in coordination with the Lafourche Levy District. We applied for the coastal use permit last month. We're continuing with the design of the station, including electrical. You can see some renderings on what it's going to look like. These are a little dark, but these are the models that we use to actually design the station based on the loading requirements. Valentine Pontoon Bridge Rehab. We should be submitting the final design to DOTD October the 10th, so 3 or 4 weeks from now. The geotech is complete. We submitted the permits. We met with the Coast Guard last month, but they've kind of put us on hold until we can get the Federal Highway Administration on board with the RAISE grant. We'll be meeting with them in a week or two, and then we'll be able to move forward with that permit. The Grand Bayou Freshwater Reintroduction, we are still providing information to the parish and for their negotiations with the landowner in the area. They have requested that we move the pump station a little further away from their house, so we moved it down that canal. It's a little bit difficult to see, but that is just below the Burglar Rose Highway. Hurricane Ida pump station rehabs. We have 6 pump stations we'll be working on for the parish. We're coordinating with Yale Consultant, HGA, and with FEMA to get the damage description and dimensions reports done. FEMA, as you know, is kind of slow going back and forth. The Bridge Investment Program grants, we're working on 3 grants for the parish to replace those 3 bridges, Sanchez Road, Old LA 182, and Canal Boulevard. We have submitted the applications, so we're just kind of working back and forth on information as those as well. In the meantime, we have Sanchez Road that we are working on some immediate repairs. We have gotten bids. It says ongoing, but the parish has selected sea level for that work, and we are working with them on getting that paperwork done and the various meetings and notice to proceed type of work done. And that should be it.
Anybody with any questions? Mr. John? All righty,
Nope,
thank you,
thank
sir.
you.
Any other engineers or architects? Moving on to item G, public wishing to address the council. Ms. Carlene.
Mr. Wayne Ogeron. If you'd come to the podium, Mr. Ogeron, state your name and address for the record. Please remember you have 3 minutes.
Wayne Ogeron, 4210 West Avenue C cutoff. And I'm here to address a condition on March Street again. Last month or during the month, the grass cutters didn't go all the way back to the grass, cut the grass for the drainage. And I was told they're not going to go off the asphalt, which should have been asphalt all the way to the fence for the drainage. So now we got a problem that when it rains and the grass is not cut, we have this happen, where we can't get to my son's house. Now, West 42nd Street was accepted into the parish by Ordinance 2761. It's in the middle of the page right there. This would help eliminate the drainage problem we have right now, and it would complete help to get access to my son's house, which we are paying taxes on. And I'm just asking for a permanent solution to this problem that we have. So,
Anybody?
can I hand this over for?
Yeah, you can bring it to Ms. Carlene. Anybody with any questions or feedback for Mr. Ogeron?
You'd like for this to be part of the minutes?
Yes, please. Like I said, I'm just asking for a permanent solution to our problem here.
I'll definitely look into it, Ms. Ogeron. I know we were cutting that area after you had requested it, so I'll see why they stopped cutting it for some issue. We do have parish right away all the way to the end where that ditch is, so we should be cutting it.
It's my understanding that they'll only go to the end of the asphalt because they don't want the tracks to get stuck in the back and all that. Well, as you can see from the picture there, we do have a drainage problem down there. And road sales tax too is supposed to help a lot on that too. If we have all the way to the back, we can have the drainage dish cut on a regular basis where it would help with the flow.
Right, and we do have a right of way all the way to that gate, and they were cutting to that gate before, so I'll check and see what the issue is and why they may not have done it. It may have been too wet when they went in the area.
I always also like to see the whole street paved to the back. We're just talking about maybe 150 feet or 125 really. And when I first moved there 40 years ago, we were shells all the way. And then for some reason they stopped there. We got our cross streets blacktop and part of the street there. We are paying taxes for it, and it was part of the program on road sales tax too. But like I said, there was an ordinance where we were accepted along with a bunch of other streets in there, and I had to do some digging with that. There's a bunch of ordinance out there.
Anybody else with any questions for Mr. Ogeron? Thank you very much,
I
sir.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Have a good evening. Ms. Carlene?
That's it, sir.
That's it. Moving on to item H, council reports, news, and announcements. Anyone with anything to announce? Mr. Otang.
I just would like to remind everyone, September 23rd through September 25th, the Hurricane Festival. Go see Ms. DeLynn down at the Cutoff Youth Center, which is next weekend, not this weekend. I also wanted to publicly thank the VFW, Post 3665, and the Marine Corps League. in Raceland for putting on a free breakfast for veterans and first responders in memory of 9/11 this past Saturday. So I want to publicly thank VFW and the Marine Corps League. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I did speak to the Marine Corps League Friday night at the ball game and Saturday, where they were spreading the word, and sounds like a good group of people. And I'll see you this weekend at the festival. Mrs. Chasson.
Yeah, I saw a comment on the Facebook, someone commenting about referring to it as Hurricane Festival. The reason for that was our biddy team used to be Cutoff Youth Center Hurricanes, and our swim team is still the Cutoff Youth Center Hurricane swim team. So it has nothing to do with hurricanes. We're not celebrating hurricanes. It was just, it's our mascot for basketball and for swimming. But we do want y'all to come out and have a good time and enjoy the weekend. We're praying for good weather. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? All right, moving on to item I, public hearing and ordinances for ratification. Have a motion by Mr. Otan, second by Mr. Araby to open public hearing. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence, being Mr. Melvin. Item number 5 has been pulled. Item,
Can I ask a question on that?
yes.
So I got a phone call today, someone asking about if there was a hearing today regarding this matter. Does anybody know, can we publicly say what happened, what the disposition of that hearing was?
I would say no, Mr. Otan. I think we're going to have an executive session on the next agenda that we
Okay.
can update you guys on what happened today and then what that path forward is going to
So
look
is that
like.
something specific to us or in the state as a whole?
So it's something that's specific to us, but as I
Okay.
understand it, there were other people who were added to that litigation, so it's going to take us a little bit to get through it.
Okay, so for the public, can't say anything as of yet.
Thank you, sir. Item number 6, ordinance to dededicate the rear 2,721.80 linear feet of Lede Lane and the rear 287.18 linear feet of Garden Drive located in Ward 4, District 7, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Motion by Mr. Otan, second by Mr. Araby. Any public comment? Second call, public. Third and final call, public. Any council discussion? Being none, we'll take it to a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes with 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence, being Mr. Melvin. Item number 7, ordinance approving an access servitude agreement between Allied Shipyard Incorporated and the Lafourche Parish Government in the La Rose area, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Motion by Mr. Otan, second by Mr. Lorraine. Any public comment? Second call, public. Third and final call, public. Any council discussion? With no discussion, we'll take it to a vote. All in favor? Anybody opposed? Motion passes with 8 yeas, 0 nays, and 1 absence, being Mr. Melvin. Item number 8, an ordinance submitting a proposed amendment to the current Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter for the Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, as it pertains to term limits for the Lafourche Parish President and enacting certain other provisions in connection therewith. Motion by Mr. Adams, second by Mr. Jones. We do have an amendment, item A. So we'll take a break from that, and I'll read that. Okay, the president and each other council member shall be elected for a term of 4 years. The president shall not be eligible as a candidate for re-election for the term immediately following the strikeout second, add in third term in which the person was elected as president. Strike through beginning with the 2023, 2024-2027 term, and adding the parish president shall be elected according to the election laws of the state of Louisiana for a 4-year term concurrent with that of the council, and shall be eligible for re-election, but no person, including the parish president in office at the time of the adoption of this amended section, shall be eligible as a candidate for the election or re-election of the office of parish president for the term immediately following the 3rd consecutive term to which that person was elected as a parish president. A vote in the affirmative would agree to a limit of 3 consecutive terms or 12 years total for the parish president. The term shall begin at 12:01 a.m. of January 1st of the following election. That amendment is by Mr. Adams, seconded by Mrs. Chasson. Any public comment on the amendment? Second call, public. Third and final call, public. Any council discussion on the amendment? With no discussion, we'll take it to a vote on the amendment. All in favor? All opposed? All right, motion passes with 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence being Mr. Melvin. We'll move back to item number 8, as amended. On a motion by Mr. Adams, seconded by Mr. Jones. Any public comment on item 8 as amended? Second call public. Third and final call public. Any council discussion? Item 8, Mr. Oten.
Yeah, so this one, I certainly won't be supporting. I went back and tried to remember, this was several of my fellow rookie council members ran their platform in 2015 during the elections of term limits. So once we got in office, everyone started immediately working towards that and did research about our neighbors to the west and our neighbors to the east. And then, I had to go back and research it because I didn't remember it specifically, but in December of 2016, the proposition was sent to the voters of Lafourche Parish, and after looking at it, there was a 96% approval in our parish of the precincts, 70 of 73 precincts, 100% of my precincts, about 73% of voters. So, that was only a few years back. So for that reason, I'm not going to be supporting this.
Any other discussion? Mr. Groh.
I'm not going to repeat, but exactly what he said is why I'm not supporting it, except for the fact that, we had a charter committee as well recently that reviewed in the last, in my last term. We all had people that were on this committee. They met. Both branches of government were involved. The DA was involved. Everybody looked at it and never came up. So I just don't see why we bring that back to the voters in 2000. From something as recent as 2016. Also, would this be for like a special election too? Where would this election fall? A lot of times when these things happen, they brought to go to the voters, and that's the only thing on the ballot. I wouldn't be able to sleep thinking of that. I don't know if it's going on something else. It's in December. Okay. But thanks for clearing that up. But no, just for the 98% that voted for that, I think it's a slap in the face to send it right back with just one little quick change. It certainly would have been brought up before, in my opinion. Thank you.
Any other council discussion? All right, we'll take it to a vote. All in favor? Any opposed?
Nay.
Nays are, all right. So the motion fails with a vote of 4 yeas, 4 nays, being Mr. Lorraine, Mr. Oten, Mr. Araby, and Mr. Groh, and 1 absence, being Mr. Melvin. All righty, motion by Mrs. Chasson, second by Mr. Adams to close public hearing. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence, being Mr. Melvin. Item J, proposed ordinances. Mrs. Chasson, will you do the honors?
Yes, proposed ordinances number 9, creating road sales tax district of the parish of Lafourche, state of Louisiana, and providing for other matters in connection therewith. Mr. Jim Wendell, sponsor. Jerry Jones, co-sponsor for administration. 10, proposed ordinance amending Chapter 2, Article 3, Section 2-36, precinct polling places of Lafourche Parish Code of Ordinances, changing the polling location for Ward 10, Precinct 11 to Galliano Elementary School, and to further establish the effective date of same, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Daniel Lorraine for administration. 11, proposed ordinance approving a lease agreement between Lafourche Parish School Board and the parish of Lafourche for leasing the premises located at 148 West 158th Street, Galliano, Louisiana, 70354, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Daniel Lorraine for administration. 12, proposed ordinance amending ordinance number 6697 that amended ordinance number 6657 that adopted the 2022 operations and maintenance budget and capital outlay budget for Lafourche Parish Council, as well as setting the salaries of unclassified employees as provided for by Article 5 of Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. T-Boo Adams and Jerry Jones, co-sponsor for administration. 13, proposed ordinance approving a servitude agreement between Louisiana Land Exploration Company, LLC, and Lafourche Parish Government in the Golden Meadow area, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Daniel Lorraine for administration.
Thank you, ma'am. Item K, resolutions. Item number 14 is pulled. Item 15, resolution appointing one member to the Coastal Advisory Committee. Motion by Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones, who do you have?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, at this time, Mr. Mitch Orgeron and Kevin Johnson.
We're one up, Mr. Jones, on 15.
On 15, I'm ahead of myself. Let's say Miss Haley Gambill.
Ms. Haley Gambill, second by Mr. Adams. Any council discussion? All right, we'll take it to a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence being Mr. Melvin. Item 16, resolution appointing 2 members to the Lafourche Parish Community Action Board by elected official. Mr. Jones.
Hey, now, Mr. Mitch Orgeron and Mr. Kevin Johnson.
All right, Mr. Mitch Orgeron from President Chasson's representative and Kevin Johnson for Sheriff Weber's representation, second by Mr. Adams. Any council discussion? Take it to a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence being Mr. Melvin. Item 17, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement between the Lafourche Parish Council, Office of Community Action, and the Learning Bridge Career Institute for the purpose of providing tuition assistance and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Motion by Mr. Jones, second by Mr. Adams. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence being Mr. Melvin. Item number 18, resolution approving change order number 3 to the agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and River Birch Renewable Energy LLC and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said change order and any and all relevant documents. Motion by Mr. Adams, second by Mr. Jones. Any discussion? We'll take it to a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence being Mr. Melvin. Item 19, resolution approving an agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and High Tides Consultants LLC for engineering services for the project titled Morvant Pump Station Road Access and Bridge Design, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Motion by Mr. Adams, second by Mr. Jones. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes with 8 yeas, 0 nays, and 1 absence being Mr. Melvin. Item number 20, resolution accepting the low quote of Complete Network Management Incorporated in the amount of $118,544 for the purchase of upgraded data. I'm sorry? $118,544,000 for the purpose of upgraded data center and equipment for the local area network, LAN, and wide area network, WAN, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Motion by Mr. Oten, second by Mr. Araby. Any discussion, Mr. Oten?
So this would be all the quotes that's in front of us, correct? That's something different. It's a land, that's a different one. That's back here.
No, like in the back of the wall.
Can one of y'all explain it to us a little bit, please, Mitch?
Mr.
Thank you,
Ogeron.
T-Bo, I appreciate that, though.
So we need to upgrade our server hardware and other hardware. Some of it is as old as 5+ years, and it's come to the end of its useful life, and that's what this is for.
I want to add, yeah, so after a certain amount of time, you can't get patches. So if they're running an older server version or the Windows version, they have to update from Windows 7. They have to go to like Windows 2019. You won't be able to get any security patches, and it gives you an opportunity for them to hack you and you get a breach. So you do have to upgrade all that.
And we're also beyond the actual warranty on these units too. We've bought additional warranties and we can't get any more warranty to keep it up and service it. So we're limping along as we speak.
Thank you, gentlemen. Mr. Grow.
Can we get some kind of credit on what we have? Is there some kind of surplus auction on this stuff or anything like that? It's just done?
A lot of that stuff you don't want to surplus because it's got, I mean, you could try to wipe it clean, but a lot of people don't try to reuse it because if it's too old for us, it's going to be too old for anybody else.
And we can't get 3 bids on something over $100,000?
State contract.
Okay.
And none of this was damaged in the hurricane?
No, this is all just, sorry.
None of it was underneath them leaks right there?
Good shot.
And guys, this is not something that we just flew in like today. It was budgeted in this year's budget. We were just finally able, past the hurricane, to get to the point where we could pull the triggers on it.
All righty. For the record, Mrs. Chasson stepped out of the chambers with no further discussion. We'll take it to a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes with 7 yeas, 0 nays, 2 absences being Mr. Melvin and Mrs. Chasson. And Mrs. Chasson has returned to the chambers. Item 21. Resolution amending Resolution Number 22-200 that approved bids for miscellaneous materials for the time period of September 1st, 2022 through August 31st, 2023, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Motion by Mr. Oten, second by Mr. Araby. Any discussion? Take it to a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays. 1 absence being Mr. Melvin. Item number 22, resolution accepting the culvert, metal, concrete, and plastic bids for the time period of September 1, 2022 through August 31st, 2023, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Motion by Mr. Jones, second by Mr. Adams. Any discussion? Take it to a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence being Mr. Melvin. Item L, Parish President, Department Heads, Directors, or Managers' Reports, Presentations, and/or Updates. Item number 23, Brooke Huddleston, Head Start Director, to present a report. I didn't see or hear Brooke, but there she is.
She's not allowed.
Good evening, Chairman Wendell, President Chasson, and the board. Presenting tonight, I gave a brief or a long report prior to this one. This is my annual report, my summation of the last year, 2021-2022 school year. We reached full capacity in all available classrooms, even with IDA. We moved from approaching proficient to proficient in instructional support, which puts us above the state and national average in the class assessments. We had 95% or above in medical and dental exams. We had no citations on any of our audits or CACFP audits. And our kindergarten transition has significantly improved, where we have a stronger transition with the school systems that our children are going to. I know you received the report in front of you. Are there any questions?
Anybody with anything from Ms. Brooke? Mr. Oten.
I'm just going to make a comment about the importance of teachers and education and have some instruction. And because today I'm going to call it an honor to attend a funeral for a teacher that taught me 40 years ago. And unlike most people, I've had more teachers than most, just for a lot of reasons. But I went through a lot more teachers. And there's one teacher that I remember specifically, and it was Miss Betty Fogel, and she passed away on Saturday. But she's one of those teachers at Rayson Junior High that really guided me into a better direction. So can't express enough how important it is to have the right people at the right time with our kids. So thank y'all for what y'all do.
Absolutely. Any other questions?
Mr. Oten graduated 3 times with all those teachers. Anybody else with any questions for Ms. Brooke?
I'm going to ask you a question.
Mr. Lorraine.
Yeah, with the Head Start in the south area of the parish, they go to Lockport?
Yes, sir, they do. They're attending the Mars du Champagne.
Yeah.
We bus them in.
So when is that supposed to maybe be back in where people can be going there?
I guess that would be a question for Mr. Ogeron and Mr.
I don't think
Chasson.
nobody wants to answer it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'll answer you.
But anyway, so who has to pay the cost for the buses? Is that coming out of the federal government, or that's the parish picking up the tab? I'm just asking.
No, sir.
It needs to be done.
We're fully funded through the Head Start grant. We take no money from the parish. We do get a lot of supplemental services. Mr. Dylan Baroni is very kind, and Mr. Leon in lending us assistance, as we only have 1 maintenance man. So, but as far as funding, we are 100% within our Head Start grant funding. We take no money from the parish.
Okay, I was just wondering. I mean, I'm not against it. They got to go somewhere. But I'd love to see them go back where we're at. We're over a year now. And we still got the same building, still got the same thing. I'll question that later.
President Chasson and Administrator Ogeron has committed to increasing that capacity to 4 classrooms as opposed to 3. when we go back in.
Well-
So it's going to be a significant change for the children in the South to
Before
be
we-
able to have access to education.
Yeah, before we get to 4, we gotta at least get to 1.
Absolutely. We have 3 classrooms of South Lafourche, which we did have down the Bayou, 3 classrooms of South Lafourche children at Mara G. Champagne, and we have 1 classroom at Lockport.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Thank you, Ms. Lorraine. Anyone else? Thank you, Brooke.
Thank you.
Item 24, Department of Public Works Representative to present a report. Mr. Barone, how are you this evening?
I'm doing well, Chairman. Thank you. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. As always, starting with the Thibodeau Field Office, Talbot Avenue, swept drainage ditch. Waverly Road, installed speed hump. Highland Lakes, clean catch basin. And also in Highland Lakes, swept the outfall. Parish Road, swept roadside ditches. Springfield Drive, swept roadside ditches. Summerfield Drive, swept roadside ditches. And Trey Lane, swept roadside ditches. Moving to Choctaw Field Office, Choctaw Road, repaired driveway culvert. There was a washout at this location. On the Choctaw Road, improved drainage along the road. I had some water ponding on both sides, so you'll see where we cut in the embankment of the road to get it to the nearest ditch. Bowie Pump Station, clean reservoir. The Eric Street number 1 and number 2 pumps installed a new suction screen. The Rumpel Pond North Levee, clean Barrow Canal. Moving to the Bayou Blue Field Office is the lower Pointe-au-Chien levee, repaired the levee. Cypress Avenue, swept roadside ditches. Bayou Blue Bypass Road, swept drainage ditch. Louise Lane, clean culverts. Moving to Raceland Field Office is the 40 Upper Canal, swept canal and cleared debris. Darwin Drive, swept outfall. The Zalman's Pump Station, clean reservoir. St. Patrick Street, swept roadside ditches. Myrtle Drive, outfall, swept outfall. Io Street, swept roadside ditches. Moving to Lockport Field Office is East 23rd Street, replaced collapsed driveway culvert. Edgar Guidry Pump Station, clean trash screen. Hamilton Street, repaired pothole. Moving to Galliana Field Office is West 88th Street, swept outfall. West 26th Street, swept roadside ditches. West 11th Street, installed driveway culvert. West 138th Street, swept outfall. As far as the work completed by the maintenance contractor, this is Thoroughbred Supercharged Pump Station. This is the installation of vinyl sheets to eliminate seepage. We had an issue with our pump cycle in here because we had a lot of seepage going through some old culverts that were installed a long time ago that used to be able to drain the reservoir, but due to the water rising on the outside of the system, they could no longer be utilized. They were blocked off some years ago by the parish, but had started to leak back and made our pump station cycle. Locust Street, this is an asphalt patch. Same thing on West 23rd Street, some asphalt patches. As well as East 23rd was a driver repair. First Street, asphalt patches. And Buchanan Street, asphalt patches. As far as the office work, over the last month in DPW, there were 2 permanent servitudes acquired, 2 major subdivision inspections, and 6 property redivision reviews, 2 major subdivision reviews, 26 culvert permits, and 2 fence permits were issued. Currently, 216 online work order requests received, 160 permits reviewed for compliance. And as far as engineering and construction projects, we currently have 17 projects in the design phase, 13 under construction, and 1 project out for bid. And with that, I'll entertain any questions.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Adams.
Yes, sir. I put in a work order sometime last week for 106 Mere. I just want to explain to you a little better. It's a drainage that runs along the cane field. It runs pretty much parallel with Bruley. I just wanted to know if you got a chance to get somebody out there to take a look at it.
I didn't, but I will look into it.
Yeah, because I mean, it flooded our house a couple years ago because it still doesn't drain. And there's trees and stuff in the way. And I mean, I know they can get to it because the cane field's right there. They got a headlamp. So I just want to.
You said 106 Mere?
106 Mere. Yeah, it's off of Bruley.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Mr. Otang.
Yeah, I just want to thank you, Dylan, for the relatively quick action on Hamilton and Buchanan Streets down on the roads, because that's two areas that I keep having the same problems with, where it's 18-wheelers headed to the businesses down there, et cetera. I did want to, normally I hit you up before meetings, but the outfall that runs to the T-Bar pump station back at Hamilton Street, so Le Village, two people down that street were asking me about the outfall back there. When I first became a council member, there was a lot of talk about the problems with the right-of-ways going back and forth, and the North Lafourche Levy District was getting involved. Can you tell me right now, where do we stand with that? Basically, the drainage that goes, if you can't answer, that's fine.
No. From leaving the rear of Le Village to the Bartle Canal in the back, I do not know anything on that. I'll look into it, though. I know that was addressed in that original scope of the industrial park drainage project.
Flow wall.
But I don't know where that stands. I know it has since been removed from the project, and it may be because of that right-of-way issue. I'm unaware of a right-of-way issue, but we'll look into it. The only issue I'm familiar with on Le Village is up towards the front, where they had an issue with a right-of-way with the truck plaza. But that has since been resolved. I don't know of one in the back, but I'll look into it, and I'll get you an answer on that.
No problem. Once again, I apologize for
No
the
problem.
because normally I hit you up, but it was a hot item for a long time, and I don't think we ever got to any full resolution. So anyway, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Otang. Mr. Araby.
Quick question, Dylan. You got an update yet on the culvert size for DD2 pitch yet?
Yes, we actually got the plans last week, and we are back at the drawing board. When they did it, they utilized the entire servitude for a ditch because it was warranted. That much water was going to go down it, but I expressed to them that we can't. We need to have some ability to maintain it. So with the 30-foot drainage servitude, it was a drainage and maintenance servitude. We cannot have a 30-foot ditch. We need to have a 15 or 20-foot ditch with 10 foot to maintain it. So they're back at the drawing board. They're hoping to have something pretty soon on this one because they have all the data and all the models are run. They just have to make some edits to it. So it'll probably be some double barrel culverts. I'm assuming they're going to be 36 inches, both of them, 60 foot in length. As soon as I know something, I'll let you know. But we did get the plans. We did look at them. They were 95% complete. Unfortunately, we didn't have any communication before they were 95% complete. But we did have a conference call 8 o'clock Monday morning, ironed all of that out. I'm hoping to have another call with them towards the end of this week and maybe a resolution early next week. I'll keep you posted.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Otang. Mr. Araby. Mr. Grove.
I want to thank you for all the work in District 3. I finally brought the camera to take pictures. You've been doing work. You'll never take any pictures, me and Jones and stuff. Highland Lake, so y'all going to go all the way to the bayou?
I'm not sure if we're going to go all the way to the bayou, but we are doing a good stretch as it goes back to the bayou. We made that curve, and when we made the curve, it dropped the water level like
dropped a lot.
18 or 22 inches. It was
Fast.
tremendous. So we're going to go to where it's useful, right? We're not going to go and do a bunch of work if it's not accounted for. But if once we get to the water surface elevation of Bayou Lafourche, we'll probably quit at that point, if that answers your question. I don't know where that is. I don't know if that's halfway. I don't know if that's 3/4 way. It's all going to depend on when we do it.
All right. And then next, garbage. I've been getting some calls, and it's not about us not picking them up. I guess it is. We're not picking up cans that we were picking up before that can be grabbed by the machine. Evidently, some were falling in, and I was lucky. The few that did call didn't get too flustered about, hey, you need to get another can. You just need to get the legit can. They'll bring one to you, or you can go pick one up, and there's a difference in price. And I was able to hook them up with Mr. Jamie Rister, who's doing a very good job.
Yeah, there's a few changes going on now. I don't want to steal President Chestnut's thunder. You want me to wait and you address all of that at the end?
Can you talk?
Yeah, I'm gonna get to it at the end.
Okay.
Well, one of y'all, if y'all could just talk about, because I understand that there was supposed to be some kind of announcement. I know we put something up about some garbage, but nothing really addressing why I'm not picking up my can.
Yeah, President Chestnut's going to address all of that.
All right,
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Grove. Mr. Lorraine.
Yeah, last meeting I talked about that Hamilton Street, which is in Nooney's district. I got a friend that lives way back there. It's about a mile long. And I brought up the deal that them trucks tore up that road pretty bad. and we paved that road about 4 years ago, and it was almost $1 million. So you're not gonna let them get away with this, huh?
Lafourche Levy District is responsible for taking care of it. They have a plan
'Cause
with the
don't forget-
contractor. Yes, sir.
It was right at $1 million to fix that road. That's a hell of a long road.
Yes, sir. I think it was paved right before we came in. I think it was 2019.
I'm telling you, it was paved. I've been sitting here long enough to know that, and I don't forget too much. So I'm just trying to see, somebody needs to be responsible and not let us pay for it again.
Understood. We are
That's
very,
ridiculous.
Understood. We are very aware, and we are working with Lafourche Levy District, who has hired the contractor to do that, and everybody's on notice that it needs to be repaired.
You might be aware, but I'm not gonna let you forget.
That's perfect.
And
I appreciate that.
also on them streets I was looking at, who did the work on East 23rd? Was that the road crew or whoever? Who did
No,
that?
that was our field office did it.
The parish?
The one we showed on here?
Yeah.
Yeah, East 23rd. Now, West 23rd was done by the maintenance contractor, but East 23rd was a driveway culvert replaced by the parish.
The maintenance contractor, that would be Boudreaux?
No, Arsen Boudreaux, yes, sir.
You know, I'm still waiting for my list. We were supposed to get a list of all the projects that they did in the parish, and we never got it.
A list of
Whatever
everything Norris and
Boudreaux
Boudreaux
did in District 9, 8, 7, 6.
Oh, we can certainly do that, yes, sir.
You know, never got, we were told we're gonna get it, but I'm not, I'm just telling you. And another thing, you had said that at a meeting, aren't you? You were gonna send us all a copy of what was done in everybody's district.
That's really easy. We can do that. We have a
that's
every
why
project.
That's why I'm requesting it.
Certainly.
It shouldn't be hard to do.
Not at all.
You know? And number two, Bo's not here? So, anyway, the truck parish-wide went down the Bayou and cleaned out West 179. So, I got to thank
Not
you
the
guys.
parish-wide truck, the road sales tax 8 truck.
What's that?
The road sales tax 8 truck.
What? No, it wasn't just out of road sales tax here. I promise you that. I promise you that.
We don't forget.
But Bo said it was a parish-wide truck. That's what he said.
He did.
I mean, he said that, didn't he say that? I mean, if he was here, I'd thank him. But don't forget, it has to go back and finish.
Yes, sir.
And can't say I didn't thank you. I'm thanking you publicly. So I could be nice at times.
Just for the record, Mr. Lorraine has thanked President Chastain.
Okay? But y'all gonna go back and finish, huh?
Yes, sir. We have to remove the rocks out the end of the culvert.
Okay.
Yeah, the
Thank
rocks
you.
wouldn't let the jet blow through.
Thank
All
you,
right,
Mr.
man.
Lorraine. Mr. Jones, it's Mr. Lafourche up there. You got anything?
Mr. Lafourche, you've been doing a great job. Keep
Thank you,
it
sir.
up.
Woo, thank you,
sir.
Mr. Barone.
Thank y'all.
Item M, discussion. Item 25, discussion concerning the Galliano Bridge. Mr. Lorraine.
I'm gonna try to hold my composure. First of all, the Galliano Bridge is out again. Today is 13 days. Last time it was probably 2 months. The bridge, the winch. They could have bought a new winch and keep it as a spare. And I know in 2 years we're gonna have a new bridge by South Lafourche, below the Galliano Bridge, but that's in 2 years. And we got to keep this bridge open, not just for the safety of the people. That's probably the most important thing, the safety of the people on 308. Because if you got to go make the round to Golden Meadow or South Lafourche, you can ask these nurses right here. 2 minutes, 1 minute, 30 seconds makes a difference on somebody living or dying. And it could happen. But it also, the Fresh Market, which was the old IGA, they depend on the people on 308 also. So he got demolished for Ida, and now we got a broken bridge for 2 weeks. Hopefully it's fixed soon, because it wasn't supposed to be too long, but today is 13 days. And you got the Cajun twist on LA1, and you got the little time saver on 308. And you can go talk to them. When that bridge is out, their sales are down. They can almost close. So don't go think that that bridge is not important. And it's still early enough to buy a winch. What, $15,000 for a winch and have it, if the other one goes out, it keeps going out. Unless you want to try to save that money to bring it elsewhere, you have it. Don't tell me you don't have it. And that's road sales tax too. You have buku money. Okay? So, listen to me and maybe get a winch. If you can.
Mr. Chairman?
You want him to respond to that?
No, that's fine, yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
So first of all, it's not the winch. We actually were doing a good thing and went in there to do some preventive maintenance, and the brakes needed the bridge needed a brake job, basically. So instead of opening the bridge back up and then closing it again if the brakes failed, which they were going to do, we've left it open until we could rework it. The plan is to have the bridge open tomorrow, hopefully by the end of the day, because we know the Tarpon Bridge is out, which is a state bridge. You can't blame me for that one. And it's not my fault that the only thing older in Lafourche Parish than you is the Galliana Pontoon Bridge. It's going to break every now and then. I can't help that.
Well, I know it's going to break, but preventive maintenance, we had that. And when y'all first started, y'all cut it out. Then you finally put it back. And it's not the brake bands. It's a tube that gets to the drum to grease the drum that went out. They had to take the drum off.
How you know that? You talk to the guys at the field?
Oh, I know more than what you think. I don't know everything, but I know a lot.
You're not really supposed to do that, by the way. I'm just saying.
You know, I ask people different questions and I get different answers. And that's what it's nothing to do with the brake band. So you can get I know somebody has a Strasburg winch, secondhand, for about $3,000. And that's probably what you got in there.
So, Mr. Chairman, to finish, since he's hopefully done pontificating, we will have it open hopefully by the end of the day tomorrow. The South Lafourche Bridge, which is the Tarpon Bridge, is also out. They plan to close that bridge to vehicular traffic at about 12:30 tomorrow. They burned up a span motor on it. So depending on the time frame to rebuild that motor is going to depend on how long that bridge is going to be out. That came to us this afternoon from the state. So hopefully by the time, we didn't want, it's a bad thing that both bridges are out, but at least the Galliana Pontoon Bridge will hopefully be back open tomorrow before they shut the Tarpon Bridge.
That would be for traffic?
Yeah, it'll be open to marine traffic, but it's closed to vehicular traffic.
Okay.
So it'll be stored in the up position.
But, you know, like I said, it's 13 days today, Labor Day, but Labor Day is one day. You know, they pulled that winch out Thursday afternoon. Friday we don't work. Saturday, you know, they didn't work. Sunday they didn't work. Monday they didn't work. It was Labor Day. So we got stuck with Labor Day. Of course, Labor Day is only one day. So changing that tube out, I mean, I don't think it should take forever. And I know you're going to tell me it takes time. But
I was
try
going
to
to tell you
get
to
it
put
fixed.
your money where your mouth is and run for parish president. Maybe the bridge will be open quicker. I don't know what else to tell you, Daniel. Old stuff takes time to fix, right? If the bridge in Racing broke, it would probably be 13 days too. You can cry Mary River all day long. It's not that we don't take care of stuff. It's that it's old, and it's going to take time to fix.
You want to tell you how old the Galliana Bridge is?
I could care less.
We changed the bottom twice since I've been in office. Twice. It might look good because it's painted, better than the state bridges, but they break too. But it seems like it's mostly the winch and the winch and the winch. So if it's the winch, the winch, and the winch, get a winch. You got the funding. You know that better than me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lorraine. Okay. Item N, questions for the administration. Mr. Otan.
Yeah, so I want to bring up the Valentine Pontoon Bridge. It's been out now for like 6 years. 7 years, Mr. President. So, and I accept full responsibility for it being out. But anyway, my point that I want to make was the state told us that they were going to be redoing these little bridges on 308. And, you know, recently we've had this rash of fatalities, and like yesterday, the 18-wheeler. We've been shutting down either 308 or LA1 for half a day, 3/4 of a day pretty regularly lately. And my fear is, and I know the state doesn't do a good job with coordinate with us, but I'm wondering if some of these bridges, the McLeod Bridge wouldn't impact us too much because we still have the Bellevue Bridge, but the other two little bridges further down, if we do that, take those out of commissions, completely shut down 308 and everything has to be on LA1, that being our only main artery without that Valentine Bridge. I'm just thinking it might be better for them to delay that if there's any way that can be done.
So the last conversation we had with Chris was about the time we were talking about the McLeod FEMA site, and they said it was supposed to go to bid in September. They sent the letting list last week, and I didn't see it moved up or down. So I'll follow up with Jacob in the morning or Chris and see if I can get a better timeline for you and let you know.
I appreciate it. We've only been waiting on that one for 12 years. I think the safety study, because all the fatalities that we presented to them. So.
And I wouldn't think, and I'm not going to even think about putting John or Laura at the spot. I don't know if there's a temp fix maybe to where, worst case scenario, if it does happen, could we swing it into operation if we had a fatality where we had to open it? But we can look at that option too, but I think it's been closed for too long. Or even if there are options, we're keeping the road open on 308, like the McLeod one, where there's a way to do that, but anyway. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Otem. Mr. Arabi.
Mr. Chassel, I'd like to see if you can maybe give me an updated figure on what we have spent in architecture fees for the morgue and the concession stand for the rodeo arena, whenever you get a chance.
I can do that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Arabi. Mr. Adams.
Yes, sir. I got 2 questions for you. As soon as you're ready to.
I'm listening. I can multitask.
All right. So I didn't even know what this was, but I just found out recently, Biloxi Court in Thibodaux. Apparently it's like a little small subdivision, and they hadn't had a debris pickup for a while.
Okay.
So can you check into that, please? My second question. Tibu's Awesome Fun Emporium Park.
Yep. Did you talk to Michelle lately? No, we talked to him last week because we were working on that and the Blanchard ditch issue for Councilman Arabi. I know we solved that one. She's going to draw up an affidavit so we can get the true right-of-way in place, and then we can move forward with that project. But the last thing she told us, and this was probably a month ago, that she had figured out a way to do it with one affidavit with one owner, so we did not have to go through the process of trying to buy out the one owner and then opening up a succession. So we'll see where she is with that affidavit.
Okay, thank you.
So you had an underrun on the Gazo Canal project, so we're going to use the leftover money from the Gazo Canal to fund the Blanchard ditch work. So I think what Michelle's plan was to draw up some type of affidavit that somebody could sign saying that we had done work on that property for years and that the tacit dedication of our right-of-way had happened. So we may be talking to you about that.
Mr. Lorraine.
Yes, on the Golden Meadow Library and South Lafourche Library, we did receive insurance money, right?
Not on the libraries themselves. We received an insurance payout, yes.
Payout, and substantial amount, or?
14 million.
You better go start building one tomorrow.
Well, when you think about, we have $36 million in building damage.
Okay.
Not a huge payout.
And did you get any assistance from FEMA?
Not yet.
Not yet?
No, sir.
Applied?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So if I'll kind of move into what I'm going to talk about. So we have started work on the building projects. The roof on the DA's office is out to bid right now. We actually had a pre-bid meeting this morning with some of the contractors that were interested. The building or the roof project for this building and the Galliana Government Complex should hit the market by the end of the week. They're waiting on one last review by HGA, who's our FEMA consultant, to make sure all the I's and T's are crossed and we're eligible for the reimbursement on the back end. So hopefully in about a month and a half, we'll be coming to you guys with a resolution to approve those low bids. Once the buildings are dried in, especially Galliano, it'll allow us to start doing the work in there. There's no point to hanging sheetrock and starting to do all the good work when we can't assure that the roof's not going to leak again. Because as you can see in here, even the temporary roof we still have on here drips from time to time depending on how much rain we get. So those projects are moving forward. The next step for us is going to be the Head Start projects are already underway. You guys approved that quote, I guess, a meeting or two ago. So Brooks work's being done. The next big steps are going to be moving toward the interior projects, the rehabs of the DA's office, the rehab of this building, the Galliana complex, the morgue, things like that. That'll be in that second stage of what the architects and stuff are working on.
So now, when you say that, I'm sorry, Mr. Lorraine, when you say the DA's building, is that the entire block building?
That's the entire block
building. Even the front
building.
section
Yes,
with
sir.
the, okay.
Yes, sir.
So they were basically able to salvage the building, South Lafourche Library. All the buildings that are connected to that, do you know anything about that?
So we have started, we have started working with Solid Waste and Bob to start sending out letters to the shopping centers to figure out what their plans are on some of the larger ones. That one, the one on LA1 by the Taco Bell, We're working on things like the apartments in Councilman Araby's district. I need to check with Bob. Danny just sent me a text, wanting to know if there was an update. I'll get with Bob in the morning, let both of you know. So we're starting to figure out what their plans are on these buildings, so we know what to do with them, whether they just walked away and we're going to have to tackle them through our nuisance process, or if they're going to come back and actually do something with them.
Because I've been having a few complaints, and I turned in what I needed to turn in, and grass, trash to the back of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's unbelievable.
Yep.
But anyway,
so it's moving.
thank you.
Yes,
Thank you, Mr. Lorraine. Item O, Parish President's final comments. Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Mike, going back to your comment about the garbage cans, we have had some issues with River Birch not picking up the smaller cans. What was happening is we were having the grapple arm pick it up. They were knocking it in the truck, and we had several instances where the drivers were either hopping in the trucks to try to get the cans out for the residents, which presented a safety issue from a company perspective, and also had one incident where a driver and a resident almost got into a fist fight because the driver got out of the truck. That driver is no longer employed, by the way. But so River Birch, it has always been in the contract since it was approved by the previous council in 19 that it would be kind of a standard can-only pickup. They've kind of been laxed on it, but because of these incidents, they've decided to enforce that. We met with Mr. Risser this afternoon, and the guidance we're going to publish tomorrow is that if you have a like-in-kind 96-gallon can that has the wheels on it and a little bar that the truck can grab and lock into place, they're still going to pick those up. So if you have any instances where residents have those cans and they're not being serviced, please let me, Mitch, or Dylan, or Sam know. We'll work through those issues with River Birch. But if you have a can that is not like that, then they will not pick them up anymore. And you will have to call River Birch to purchase that second can. I will say that if you go to Lowe's or Home Depot or a big box store and try to purchase a garbage can, it's going to run you about $150. If you go to River Birch, it's right at 100, 110. So it's actually cheaper buying them from the company than going out there. So we're going to push that information out tomorrow. We reworked with Jamie this afternoon the flyer. There were some issues in there about some of our residents who are handicapped and how those garbage cans are serviced. So we retooled some of that language to make it very clear. So we're going to push that out, and I think so will River Birch tomorrow. If you guys noticed, the Scenic Overlook project under the overpass is pretty well near completion. Barring any weather complications, the floating dock will be installed tomorrow with the Lafourche Freshwater District and the contractor. There's some cleanup work to do, and then we'll be able to open that thing up. So it'll be ready for, I think, some of the events that are going to happen there in the fall as well. I touched on the building projects. We touched on the bridges. As I get any updates from Keith with DOTD, I'll pass it on to you guys down the bayou. We did have a meeting this afternoon with John and Laura about the Boardwalk Expansion. So we're going to start on the permitting end of that to actually finish the loop and then work through some grant topics to see if we can fund that. Yeah, the elevated boardwalk in 308. So we're going to cut GIS engineering loose to start the actual permitting work and the redesign of whatever they have to finish up from the first loop. And we have a meeting tomorrow about the industrial park bulkhead with Neil and kind of the next phase of that with the money that you guys had put in the budget in this year. So Renita and her team continue to work on the budget. We hope to have that to you guys at the second meeting in September like we typically do. And that'll give you the month of October to look at it. I'm sure we'll have our typical budget meetings in November as we typically do. That's it, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Who was on Bayou Blue at River Birch before Jamie?
Justin. So Justin got promoted over to the landfill.
I work closely with Justin on some abuse in my district where residents were calling in, and I'm not talking about one or two. There were 15 or 20 a week that the garbage truck ate my garbage can. And all River Birch's trucks have cameras on them, and I went sit with Justin for an extended time, and we watched garbage being dumped for hours on end. And there were a lot of people who were saying that just to get a free garbage can. So in addition to, accidents happening with this, that, or the other, there was quite a bit of abuse with the system to try to cash in on a second can or a good can or a damaged can without having to go through the steps.
Yeah, so I will say, guys, and I know I've said this before, if you have any issues like that, please work it through Sam or Dylan, because if somebody calls and just says, I need a garbage can at 100 ABC Street, they go drop them off. We're paying for that at the end of the day. So I want to make sure that we're tracking this so we're not just, again, to Jim's point, that we're not just getting hit at the very end of this with a huge bill, because the hurricane was one thing, and I think we fulfilled most of that. And we're seeing pretty good compliance with people buying the second can. But if we have those issues, please just route it through Sam. And Mr. Chairman, if I can, before you adjourn, Mr. David Nelson walked in. I see he went home and got printed up for it. But I just want to say thank you to David again. A lot of people especially when they pull over on the side, people see pull over on the side of the road, they'll just drive by, whether it's a state trooper or not. And to have an employee stop, especially in a big rig, that's not easy to park on the shoulder of the road and get out and help a trooper or anybody change a flat tire. It's something to be commended for, and it's a great example of what parish employees are doing, and we appreciate everything you do, David, so congratulations.
Let's take a minute and you present him with this thing, and let's get a picture of it.
Can I say something real quick?
Certainly.
I want to thank all these nurses for coming. That's the first time I see a big gang like that between the girls and the boys. And I know y'all going to do well. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. David. Thank you, Mr. President. All right, item P, on a motion by Mr. Groves, second by Mr. Adams, with no further business, the Lafourche Parish Council regular meeting of September 13th, 2022 is adjourned. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes with 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 absence, being Mr. Melvin at 6:05 p.m.